while it might be fun to play with a platform that creates lyrics and background music and everything very quickly, we should be careful to think all platforms always act ethically, and all technology is exactly the same, because that's just not the case.
Welcome to AI Music Unmuted. Real Talk by realmusic.ai, the show that talks to experts and thought leaders about tools and truths for musicians in the age of technology and creativity.
Today's guest is Anita Baumgartner, photographer, DJ, and head of marketing at Soundraw. Anita, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Great to see you. So before we dive in, can you share a little bit about your journey and how you got to this space within music?
Yes, of course. So actually, I came from completely different industry. Since I'm the head of marketing at Soundraw now, I came from performance marketing background, and I've been working in Japan for 5 years when I joined Soundraw. And basically, I started my career or journey into music more through DJing and hosting events here in Osaka on the side as a hobby. And then I was found by Soundraw, and they asked me whether I would be interested to join them. And since I enjoy marketing in general, I enjoy music, I said, why not? And that's how I got here.
Just give us a little overview of Soundraw and who it's built for.
Yes. So Soundraw is an AI music tool that can be used basically by anyone. Our main use types are basically content creators and music artists. So it started 5 years ago, founded by a Japanese former hip hop dancer called Daigo. And he started it because he basically wants to build the number one beloved music tool for musicians and creators in the world. Since he has his background from hip hop dancing, he was super interested in making beats, how it comes together. He was connected in the industry, and all the algorithms are fed by content creators and musicians that he knows through his journey. And so basically when Soundraw started, it was mainly focusing content creators to make background music for their contents. So the cool thing about Soundraw is that it is completely adjustable. You can create a beat in a second, but you can adjust it like very simply to, whatever beats you have in your video. Or if you're a musician, you can adjust the key, you can adjust the intensity of every section. It's just super easy to use for any kind of use case. But basically one of the main problems all people who need this kind of music face is copyright, and Soundraw completely solves this problem because all the content is completely made by the in-house team here in Japan.
There's a bunch of things to talk about there, but starting a little more high level, there's just so much hype around AI replacing musicians. You look at how artists are actually using the technology. What's the reality?
Yeah, so that is a big fear that we often hear when people hear AI music. They're very, very careful, especially now with the lawsuits going on. With Soundraw, people do not have to worry about that without trying to send to marketing. Like I said, it's completely originally created. My favorite moments at Soundraw in the 1.5 years I worked here, I've been sent to New York 5 times in that time. And my favorite part was always when we went to a music studio and we introduced the tool there. Because at first they hear AI music, they're a bit skeptical, but then they see and play around with the tool and see how much fun it is in the creation process. So we actually had collaborations with 3 bigger hip hop artists who made the beat with Soundraw. So 504 was the first ever hip hop artist to make a beat made with AI. The great thing is that Soundraw can really be used by anyone. So when we go to the music studios, the producers are really into it because you can download the stems and go from there. The music artists can we went to a park once and I just had my iPad with me and let just people create their beat on the spot and then just freestyle over it. So it's just really fun tool for making your ideas become reality without, having to either steal a beat from YouTube that has already been overused or, taking other copyrighted material or having an entire production going on. So it's just really enabling the access for people to make music more quickly and democratizing the access to music creation, basically.
I think enabling is a big word here. What do you think that media and the public gets wrong about AI music?
Basically, it's like with everything, like AI music is a wide spectrum. So I think it's logical that when people just hear the big newspaper headlines now are about the lawsuits for some of the services, and of course they are worried. I mean, that's normal for every new technology that comes out, that people are a bit worried about what role it will play, and I think that's completely justified. But what they get wrong is that every platform is exactly the same. That just isn't the truth. So while it might be fun to play with a platform that creates lyrics and background music and everything very quickly, we should be careful to think all platforms always act ethically, and yeah, that all technology is exactly the same, because that's just not the case. So yeah, I think if you're an artist and you're worried about AI music, I would really like look into the platform that you're using and look at how they train their service. Because yeah, if you can't find information about that, I would get a bit like at least slow down and research deeper. But I think the platforms that are ethical, they will proudly show it off and show off the people who actually behind their service.
A real thing that we focus on at Real Music is AI that is ethically trained. So that's important, and that's good to hear that Soundraw has that same focus and mission.
Yeah, so I don't know if you know about we also joined an initiative called AI for Music by Roland and Universal Music. And so we also joined that initiative. So that's also a good place to learn more about ethical usages of AI music. But yeah, it's just really great to see more platforms come up about it rather than just being completely skeptical about all kinds of AI music. I think skepticism is always good for new technologies in general. We need to be responsible with new technologies and how we use it. But yeah, on that page you can find a lot
So
of
I'm old
platforms.
enough for I've been through so many transitions in music and new technologies, and I there's people I talk to who don't remember anything really before DAWs, but from digital and sampling and MIDI and drum machines. Do you feel like there are similarities in this with earlier shifts like those technologies I just mentioned?
Yeah, 100%. So, like, yeah, I wasn't around for that, especially not in the music industry so much, but, like, that is kind of one of the arguments I always bring up to, like, people when they're very skeptical, when they say, like, "Oh, but it's gonna replace us." And I say, like, you know, there are drum machines, right? And are there still drummers?" You know, like, I just kind of make them think themselves, like, a little bit, about that. So definitely, I do leverage that point too, and I do completely think that, yeah, AI music, it's just a tool. It's advancement of technology, and I think, if you embrace it as an artist, you can have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I think also we can lower the barrier for entry really in making music, and that means more people making music and more inclusivity. And that to me always sounds like a good thing.
Exactly, exactly. In the AI, like, provides, a tool, but, human like, people always wanna connect to a story in music and to the emotions and experience of an artist. So, yeah, I really wouldn't feel as an artist, I wouldn't feel scared to be replaced at all.
I mean,
Yeah.
your founder himself, he was probably describing himself more as a dancer, right? And today it sounds like he might even call himself a musician as well. So that's kind of a neat journey and a neat enabling situation.
Exactly, exactly.
Do you
Yeah.
think AI could eventually replace, sample packs and beat libraries?
Replace yeah, let me think about that. Um, I feel like it's hard to say replace completely. I feel like there will always be a place for them to coexist. But yeah, for example, Soundraw is like a valid tool that you can use for these use cases. Yeah, basically, like lots of artists use Soundraw to create samples for their production process. But I think at the same time, I don't think it will completely replace it.
Yeah, I think, MIDI was a big advancement, and that was 45 years ago. And we're still using MIDI and we're still not using MIDI.
Exactly. That's what I also
Um,
think, like, every musician's, creation process looks different. Just because some people start embracing AI, it also doesn't mean everybody has to do it, right? Some people still, like, just some people make music just with the guitar and singing. Some people use, like, a huge studio with a lot of synthesizers. Some people might just, use an AI track. I think there is really, like, enough people to listen to music that there's also enough space for all kinds of creativity. I think it's so much more about how you use a tool. Um, yeah, I think every artist knows it's like they just have to find the thing that really works for them. Some people can play a lot of instruments, but maybe they still have a favorite one. Some people just don't have a talent for piano, but maybe they're really good at the guitar. Some people maybe yeah, just really have a knack for rapping over sound drop production. So I think it's just yeah, like I said, it's a tool that can enable creativity. Yeah, especially in the hip hop area. Hip hop has always been a lot about like technology that helps you flip other things like there's a lot of sampling in hip hop already. Yeah, turntables in the end, like it's very common in the industry. That's like why that's also the main area where we talk to artists, and it's been very well received so far.
Yeah, I mean, hip hop has always embraced new technology and has always pushed the limits. And AI is really just that next chapter in that tradition.
Something for hip hop is also, we worked a lot in like studios in New York, and like the people in New York have a lot of access to producers and studios, and they will often like that's where we meet most of them in person. But like online, actually, if we have rappers in more rural areas, that's like harder for them to access like a complete music studio. So for them, Soundraw has also enabled access to more creativity. We've posted some contests where we also saw more participation from outside of the big music hubs.
Yeah, I mean, it can really break down the limitations of geography, for example. So, do you have some real world examples of specific artists or ways that, whether it be hip hop or other genres, how people are using tools like Soundraw?
So basically, yeah, we have like a lot of artists that we're working with, and we just hosted like a competition called Beat the Future, and we had like artists from all over America participate. Some of them were like rappers from New York because we have that community already going, but some of them were also more rural. There's a rapper called IQ the Prodigy. We have like a testimonial about him on our blog too. Yeah, so he basically made a whole album with Soundraw beats, and he said he really enjoyed it because he could just create it all in his home studio without having to heavily rely on producers. He could like easily draft out his ideas. In New York, I experienced there was like an artist called Scorpio, and she said usually it takes like 4 hours to get to a beat. And with Soundra, we were there. We filmed the process actually. It's on our Instagram, and she made a beat within like 30 minutes with her producer. So yeah, she could just really pick the prompts that she wanted, and then from there flip it with the producer into exactly what they needed. So I've seen it both like used by artists themselves. There's like an artist called Echo, Echo speaks music too. He like heavily uses Soundraw to really unleash his creativity. He made one song where I think he used like 5 different Soundraw beats that he combined. So he didn't really have music production experience, but yeah, with Soundraw he could even join our competition in New York, perform the track live. I don't know. There's so many cool stories of artists. Like my brain is just being flooded.
No, those are
Um,
some great examples. Yeah, it's
yeah,
good to
so
put names with the actual people who are creating the music. Do you think that AI in music is being used differently in different parts of the world? You're in Japan, I'm in the United States. Do you sound like you've been over here recently, not far from me? Have you noticed any differences in areas it's being used?
that's a good question.
It just might be that because it removes geography, that we're just one big region rather than people using the technology very differently one area versus another. It just brings the global aspect of it all together, the creativity.
No, like I feel actually this moment of like where the initial skepticism goes into like, oh, that's actually cool, has been very consistent whenever I see people using Soundraw for the first time, whether that's here or somewhere else. Um, yeah, like really, I think in terms of usage, yeah, we also held the same competition actually like in Japan just a month before. And I would say, I mean, while the results here were like more, video game music inspired almost, in the US, we had just more of the hip hop use case. I think that also depends on like just the general community we have. In Japan, there is like something called DTM. It's like desktop music production, and they are like a bit more, individual people who like comparable to bedroom producers in the US. Whereas in the US, we've been more going for like the rapper market. So I think it's more a result of like really how we've been presenting the tool rather than how the tool itself is regionally accepted. But yeah, there is just like obvious different communities and pockets.
Tell me more about the competition. That sounds real interesting.
So yeah, basically the competition was complete creativity with Soundraw. People who entered got like a free trial month and then could just make like a 1 minute track with whatever they wanted with Soundraw, right? They just had to send us the link of their sample that they used from Soundraw, and then could flip it either into like a new beat. So, just with production techniques. And so it was open for producers, or they could rap over it and make it a song through that. So those are like the use cases of Soundraw. We got like over 300 combined entries, and it was so interesting. I just remembered like another artist also said I could start making beats on my lunch break. And he said like, he had completely given up on basically his music career, but thanks to Soundraw, he could just get back on the horse because it was just, it just sped up the process. So he could do this next to his full-time job. We know a lot of people full-time pursue music, and then, when you get older, you get busier with your job, you have to, like, maybe stop practicing. You just don't have that many hours to invest into learning a new skill. So with Soundraw, like, if you don't care that much about production, you just wanna, like, have fun with it, play guitar, for example, over a beat, or sing over it. And it was super interesting because even some people wrote in the comments for the contest, "Oh yeah, I was really skeptical about AI music, but yeah, they really enjoyed using it in the end. They're really happy with the result that they could create."
And how did the judging process work?
But yeah, actually, we were like at the Soundraw at the office. The basement has like a little studio with speakers, so we were listening there, and then just basically everybody had like a little table with an X or an O. So the O is good, the X is not good. And then through the process of elimination, we got to the best tracks in the end.
So you brought
Mm-mm-mm.
in some of the music talent competition type TV
Exactly.
show aspects to it.
For the Japanese competition, one of the judges was also Wise from the Teriyaki Boys.
Uh-huh.
So if you know, like the Tokyo Drift song, right? He was on that, for example.
What do you think are some of the parts of music that only humans can create, or what do they bring to it, and what will humans always crave from music?
Mm-mm. Yeah, like in the end, like for every other tool, right? Yeah, humans will still, provide stories, the emotions in the music. Yeah, what's so important is the artist's voice and their message. That's what we see in like these competitions. Just because they all use Soundraw to create their music doesn't mean like all the tracks are the same. They definitely bring so much of their own messages, their human connection, their experiences into it. So whether that be like flipping a beat, with maybe sample packs they have, or like instruments that they play over it, or whether that is just their general message, even like how you prompt Soundraw, right? Like you can't freely prompt it, but like even just you can combine several genres, for example. You can adjust the beat in there. I think that's something you can't completely ever describe. That's just really like that comes from the heart, like what sounds good to you. Whenever if you ever try to start music production, like like the producers will often say like trust your ears more than like the numbers on the screen. In the end, it's such a question of taste. And yeah, while Soundraw is maybe more curating the music production in the end, the beat itself, it's so good if a human just gives a touch to it, sings the story over it, raps, or yeah, remixes it. I think that's something, yeah, irreplaceable.
Yeah, I've had people answer that with listening, which brings me to live performances. What role do you think live performance plays in keeping music human?
For the rappers, for sure, like, it's so much about community too, right? That's what I've seen there. Whenever we hosted, competitions with On the Radar last year, where part of the competition was, like, live performances, and I think, yeah, like, community coming together in a space and, yeah, just meeting your fans, meeting fellow artists, that's something that is, like, a part of the music industry in the end, right? Like, there's studios, there's hubs. Some of them are like online now for sure. It's like it's very in the scene to perform live too. When I think of the more production aspect, I'm thinking also like a bit DJs, right? Because even if the music isn't technically performed live, but it's recordings, even that can be transformed by like a human curating it in the moment. So yeah, attending both like a lot of like singing performances and like DJ shows, I think just people coming together and listening to music will always be special. So I think maybe there is not even that much change through AI music or not. Like I think it just becomes more accessible even, right? Because we can create these moments even quicker. Like when we went to that park, we just whipped out the iPad and made a beat in seconds and had people come together. Like it was so fun because first we just had one person rapping over there, then other people got curious, and there was just this moment of like, cool, people are connecting over this music. So yeah, maybe it can even create this moment where you maybe needed like a whole stadium, or you can create this this moment of like enjoying music together even more spontaneously.
Yeah, I think, live performance, there can be music that's created right in front of you, whether it be a stadium or a small venue. AI can create this entirely new experience where it's being created right then and there. And
Exactly.
that's, different from obviously a live guitar solo or something. It's not to take away from that music might be improvised and created right then and there, but it's just a different iteration of that.
100%. I agree. Actually, something we also did there is like this hip hop showcases sometimes in New York, where people just go, they pay an entry fee and then they perform some songs. So I was a bit cheeky there, and I said, "Hey, can I just like do a live cipher?" So literally 5 people came up, and I just like asked each person like, "Okay, what genre do you want? What mood do you want? What theme do you want?" And then from that we made like a beat, and it was so much fun. It was just so great to yeah, just people hop on the beat, rap some verses over it. It was yeah, very great experience. So that's literally what happened, and people were all just some of them could not like that went up to me later. I'm like, "No, you pre-made this beat." I'm like, "No, no, like I can show you right here." It was really created on the spot.
I mean, you can freestyle vocally, but we're coming close to almost freestyling, creating the beats and the music too.
Exactly, exactly.
Do you think AI, in some ways, we're already there, but will eventually be blending seamlessly into the entire creative process in a way that we don't really even notice?
Yes, 100%. And we might be working on it, but I can't share too many details right now. But yeah, 100%. I don't see how it would not happen next. You know, there is already like so many plugins, VSTs for DAWs. So I think that is definitely the next step to integrate with that more seamlessly. Now you still have to download it and upload it. But yeah, in the end, that seems like the lesser technological limitation that yeah can definitely be broken up. So yeah, I think it will be very common to see used in every studio through plugin probably.
So a lot of people think about AI can take money out of musicians or other music pros' pockets or paycheck. Do you think that there's new ways to make money utilizing AI?
For sure, yeah. Like I said, like many beginner artists, they don't use original beats. They never would have the budget to like pay for any kind of beat, and they just download music from YouTube. You know, like just a beat that is not theirs, which can be fun if you just want to try it, of course. But if you actually make a song that blows up with that, we all know that can lead to a lot of problems down the line because yeah, in the end the beat is not yours. You will have to share the money more with like the artist who made the original beat, or you basically will just completely get blocked. So with AI music, if you always like use your original beats before publishing a song, that's just something that cannot happen. That you know it just gets taken down in the end. Like usually it gets taken down and nobody gets the money. So if you created your beat with AI music, you can actually monetize it, and that counts for both content creation with AI music. Um, and also, like, yeah, if you're an artist.
Really interesting. I think AI is really inspiring more independence, and it's a shift, economically, the landscape away from perhaps having to depend on the big record companies, and you can do things more independently now.
Correct, correct. Yeah. We even see, like, maybe content creators will become more, music savvy. Because now, you like on Instagram, when you upload a piece of content, you can use any kind of background music, but you could even distribute your music yourself and then have it accessible through that. And, then when your video goes viral, for example, you will get part of the revenue from the streaming through the social platform. So that's another way to monetize with AI music. But yeah, there's basically a few use cases like that. Mm.
What do you think some of the biggest risks or opportunities ahead are?
Yeah, the biggest risks, I mean, for the unethical players, definitely, it will be like, yeah, whatever comes out in the lawsuits. But for general AI music, yeah, I guess like the biggest risk is less like for the public opinion to just see AI music as something bad in general rather than like an opportunity. And yeah, an opportunity is just like more mainstream adaptation and yeah, basically unlocking the talent of people who maybe have taken a full time job and who would not be able to dedicate enough time to create music from scratch. So I'm definitely sure it will just really unlock so much talent that has been lost due to time constraints.
Yeah, or even I've heard some say that it can allow you to create more of the music that you want to create. And as a musician trying to, pull a living or a lifestyle and paycheck together, that sometimes you have to, especially session players, and they have to perform music for the money. And it's not music they want to do, but AI can really allow people to hopefully make money creating more of the music that they want to create.
Exactly, exactly.
So, how can artists be supported in other ways using tools like, say, Soundraw or any other solution beyond just making music?
Yeah. So like we already talked about, like a few of the contests. We did like a lot of activations last year too, where we helped artists connect with studios. So we had something called Soundraw Week, where we basically had an event where people just came together from the music industry. Some of our artists were performing there, and so just this community creation. I think it's so important. For music still people to come together. For example, something else we did a collaboration with On the Radar. So in the last year, we placed 8 artists to perform on the Radar. It's like one of the biggest rap um, podcasts, I would say, or YouTube channels. It had like Drake on it. It's this green logo where people perform with a microphone in front of it. And for that, we hosted a competition. So at the same time, that created community, it created opportunity, and like for really new artists to perform on one of the biggest platforms was also a great chance for them. Yeah, because artists struggle with making the music. We laid that out already, but at the same time, also we want to help artists generate the visibility. We want to help them with the marketing. We want to help them really be seen and bring their story out. So that's why we also like heavily feature testimonials. So really just like showing off what can be done, because it's like very mutually beneficial, obviously, to show off at the same time. Soundraw can make this beat, but also this artist utilized it in such a way that they generated something greater than that.
You mentioned community several times, and I think there's nothing more that embodies the human element like community. So I think that's just a great thing that AI can allow the community support and help artists be more creative, and even the efficiency side of it, which doesn't sound like an important thing. When we're talking creativity, efficiency, those don't always sound like they go together. But, the workflow, when you can try more ideas, be exposed to more creative help. I mean, you could spend weeks exploring and then never complete your projects, or there's more unfinished songs out there than there are songs. So
Exactly.
if we can help artists be more creative in a way that supports them in the community aspect, I think those are all really good things.
Exactly, exactly. It's just always this great moment when like there's 5 people in the studio, then everybody gives their input. I'm sure that happens to a degree with like DAWs too, but it's like harder, I think, for people that don't have that much music production knowledge to be like, oh, change this here. But they can say, oh, actually, let's mix it with R&B and let's make this section louder. Let's duplicate this section. It's like, just very an organic process in the end, like how to get to the end result and how to bring everybody's emotions in there.
Well, Anita, thanks so much. We talk a lot about industry topics and, some of the challenges that we're all facing with AI music, but the personal stories that you shared were great. Where can people learn more about Soundraw, and is there anything new and exciting you have coming up?
Yes, indeed. So I would recommend everybody to follow our Instagram page because we share a lot of information there. And on our Instagram, you can also join the community, as we've spoken about so much. So it's like an Instagram chat where we like even announce things a bit earlier to the people who are in there. And we have an app coming out, so definitely check that out. And for creators, we have like another contest coming up.
All right, great. Thanks for sharing so much. Anita, it was great to have you on here.
Thank you so much. It was great to be here.
All right, everyone, check out realmusic.ai for more resources. Please like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this, and let's all go make some music. All right, bye, everyone.